Welcome, Power BI enthusiasts. I hope you're ready for today's video. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive and we're going to be building this Power BI dashboard from scratch. We're going to cover everything from the ground up, all the way from creating the data model to the actual visuals to this fun tooltip that occurs when you roll over it. I'm not going to lie, you're going to see me struggle a little bit. You're going to see me hit some snags in this video, but that's what building a Power BI dashboard is in real life. It doesn't always go smooth. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable. If you're going to follow along, the files are linked in the GitHub down below, and let's get started on this exciting journey together. Before I forget, why don't you not forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my Power BI tutorials. Ready? Let's go. The first thing that I like to do when starting out a new dashboard project is putting together a plan as to how we're going to build it and a list of resources that we might need. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up Notepad++ and I'm going to list out what we need first. So first we're going to need resources. We're going to need some data, right? We're going to need some colors or like a theme that we're going to use. And then we're going to need some images or icons. Luckily for you, I've gone ahead and I've gathered all of that over here in this folder. So I have a PDF of the 2020 election results that I downloaded from the FTC's website. I have an icon of Biden that's in an SVG image file format. I have an icon of Trump that's in a Trump SVG image format. And then I have a text document with some hex codes of some colors, some blue colors representing the Democratic Party and red colors representing the Conservative Party. The next thing that I like to do is kind of put together my order of operations. So first things first, let's title this plan. The first plan is going to be to build the build the dashboard data model. The second plan is going to be to wireframe the dashboard. Okay. The third is going to be to adjust the data model like as needed, right? As I fill in visuals, the data. And then the fourth is going to be go through and make kind of UI tweaks so the dashboard looks pretty. All right, let's start building the dashboard. First things first, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up Microsoft Power BI. And I'm going to follow our plan that we outlined right here below. I'm going to start building out the dashboard data model. So I'm going to click blank report, and I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm going to go into this elections dashboard, and I'll save it as election dashboard and save it. And just like that, I have a blank Microsoft Power BI file that is ready for us to start building it. So now all we have to do is, well, we have to start following our plan. So the first part of this is we're going to be building out our dashboard data model. I always like to start building out my dashboard data model by creating a blank table that I can put measures in. So I'm going to click this Transform Data button to go into Power Query. And I'm going to go and I'm going to click Enter Data. And once I'm in this Enter Data, I don't need to add anything in here. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to rename this Measures Table by double-clicking right there and then hitting Close and Apply. Now, I know you can put together a custom Power BI theme with JSON with colors, but I tend to use a lot of conditional formatting. So it's really beneficial for me to have my colors in measures. So the hex codes of my colors and measures. That way, when I do conditional formatting, I can just return them. As you can remember, I went ahead and I put together kind of a colors or a theme that I saved in this elections dashboard folder. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. And here you can see I have a Republican red, I have a Republican light red, a Democratic blue, a Democratic light blue, and then I have a prefix that I'm going to need to attach to my SVG icons in order to get them to render. So let me go ahead and create measures for all of these. So I'm going to go modeling, new measure. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to call this Republican red. And this will need to be in single quotes or double quotes, right? So let's go here. Okay. And then I'm going to go new measure. And I'll do the exact same thing right here. So modeling, new measure, Republican light red. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to go Democratic blue, modeling, new measure, Democratic blue. Okay, and then Democratic light blue. Okay. Now, a good idea in data modeling is to keep your data model very clean. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and put all of these in a folder, and I'm going to call them colors. So I'm going to go into model view. I'm going to select right here, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to enter in a display folder of colors on all of these. So there we go, colors, 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 colors. All right, now, since this is a measures table, you might notice that it's not getting the measures icon, and I still have this random column here called column 1. Now that I have measures that are associated with this table, I can go ahead and I can edit this table so it doesn't have that. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to click remove right here. So now we don't have any columns coming in. And now if you notice, the icon changed right here, and we now have our folder with just our measures. All right, the next thing that I like to do in our data model is I like to create all the icons or measures that will return all the icons that we're going to be using. So if you remember, I have a Biden icon, which if we look in this folder, and I'm going to open it up in a web browser. Like here's my Biden icon, and then I have the same with Trump. And this is an SVG, which stands for a scalable vector graphic, and it's something that you can use in Microsoft Power BI to create icons. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go open up right here. So here's my Biden and here's my Trump. Okay. I do need to edit this a little bit, because if we go in and we look at the source code, and I'm going to open this up in VS Code, you'll notice that these are using double quotes right here. Microsoft Power BI will take that, if I put this in quotes in a measure, will take that as a quote. So I need to use an escape character, which is 2 double quotes. So I'm going to copy one of these. I'm going to hit Control H for find and replace, and I'm going to replace it with the escape character. So I'm going to go replace all. And I'm going to copy all of this. And I'm going to go back into my data model, and this is my Biden icon. And I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go new measure. I'm going to title this Biden icon. I'm going to go equals, single double quotes right here, and I'll put this in. So now we have our SVG icon up top. Okay, now Power BI will still not recognize this as an image icon unless I prefix it with this. So I'm going to select right here, and I'm going to go and right here. I'm going to go Biden icon right here. Okay. Now I need to tell Power BI that this is an image URL, so it will go ahead and render it. And so I'm going to switch it to an image URL right here. Now, if I now bring this into a matrix, for example, I now get a rendering of my Biden icon. Nice. Let's go ahead and let's do the same for Trump. So I'm going to go into File again. I'm going to open my Trump icon in VS Code. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to replace all these. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to go modeling, new measure. I'm going to title this Trump icon. Okay. and then I'm going to go equals in quotes right here. So there's my Trump SVG. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste this, obviously, right here. And I will go and there is our Trump icon. And we need to change this to data category image URL. And now if I go back into the same matrix, right, and I bring this up over here, there's my Trump icon. So as you can see, I'm getting them rendering right next to each other. Looking pretty good. All right, but remember, we like to keep things organized. So I'm then going to go add these measures into a folder called icons. So I'm going to go right over here, display folder, and I'm going to go on Trump. I'm going to call this candidate icons, and I'm going to misspell candidate, so we will fix that. Give me 1 second to get the correct spelling. I don't pretend to be a good speller here. All right. We'll fix that right here. Okay. And I'll copy right here. And I will put the Biden icon right here too. All right. Our data model is starting to look pretty good. But now we actually need to go ahead and we need to import in our data. So if you remember, our data is in a PDF format in our election dashboard. So let's take a look at what this PDF actually looks like. All right. So as you can see, we have the electoral votes by state. So we have state electoral votes, the total number the state's worth, the votes that were cast for Biden, and then the votes that were cast for Donald Trump. Donald Trump and Biden were the only ones that got any electoral votes. However, if you then go down onto the bottom pages, you'll see alphabetically a list of all of the candidates and then how many votes that candidate got. Okay, so like here's all of the actual results. And if you notice, so if we're just building a dashboard with Trump and Biden, which I think is what we're going to do because they're the only ones that got any electoral votes, we'll need to actually pull their state, right, the electoral votes, Trump or Biden, and then we'll need to also pull the actual votes. So here's Biden's actual number of votes, and then if we scroll down right here, here's Trump's actual number of votes down right here, or I believe, yeah, here's Trump's votes right here. So this is on page 8 out of the PDF, okay? Biden's on page 2 of the PDF, and then the electoral votes are on page 1 of the PDF. So let's go ahead and fire up Power Query and see if we can import this data, okay? So I'm going to go get data, and I'm going to go more right here. I'm going to search for PDF, or right there, there it was, and I'm going to go connect. I'm then going to go and look, I'm already in my election dashboard folder, and I'm going to select the PDF that we were using, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click open. Once this is open, remember the data that we want is on page 1, page 2, and I believe it was on page 8. And we will just confirm that by reopening the PDF right here. So we'll go back over and we'll open back up. And I think the data we wanted was on page 8. Forgetting. Yep, here it is. Yep, page 8. Okay. All right. And we will go ahead and we'll click transform data. And we'll let this load. And here's page 1 and 2. Oh, and I might have also forgotten page 8, so we need to go back over here, right? Implementation, navigation. I selected table 02 out of data. So let's go ahead and let's copy this. So I'm going to go copy. I'm going to go paste. And we'll go back over here, right? And here's our source. And it was on page 8, so we will double click into this table right here. Okay. So here we are. So we have state, Trump, West. None of these candidates write-in votes, total votes. Right here we have state, Biden, and then all the other candidates right here. And then here we have our actual electoral college votes. So where should we start? Because this is a big question. Okay, I'm going to go ahead And I'm going to start by, first of all, renaming this one electoral votes. And I'm going to start by renaming this actual votes. Or I'll name, actual votes, okay? All right. So we only want to return Trump and Biden, right? So I'm going to also rename this. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to double click and I'm going to go Biden electoral votes, Biden right here. And then I'll go ahead and I will do the same right here. Electoral votes Trump. Okay. Right here. And then I'll replace these nulls with zeros. So I will go down here and I'll go replace values. I'll go value define, go null, replace with zeros. Okay. And then I'll do the same right here. So I'll go over here, replace values, value define null, and I'll replace with zeros. Okay. Now our actual votes page, we need to take Biden from here and Trump from here. So how are we going to do this? We're going to use a merge queries, and we're going to go merge queries as new. And I'm going to actually rename this to actual votes page 1, or actual votes Biden. Biden. And then I'll rename this one right here to actual votes Trump. Okay. So then I'll go and I'll delete out right here these. So highlight those, and I'll go remove these columns. And then I'll go right here, actual votes Biden. I'll go right here, and I'll delete these out and remove these columns. So now I've got the actual votes of Biden, and I have the actual votes of Trump. And then I have my electoral votes. I need to merge these into a single view. So I am going to go right here. I'm going to go merge queries as new. And I'm going to take my state right here. I'm going to go Trump and take my state right here. And I'm going to go ahead and merge these, right? And so now I have a single table right here. I will go ahead and I will expand Trump right here. And here we are with all of our states right here. Okay, and I will rename this to actual votes. And then I will make it so that we don't load these tables by right-clicking here and going unchecking enable load, which, as you know, or as you can see, will make them italic, right? So indicating that they're not going to load. Okay, going back into this table, you can see right here that I have a total row. I need to get rid of that total row, so I'm going to go right here, and I am going to uncheck total wherever you might be. So there we go. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to do the same in this actuals vote. So I'm going to uncheck total, and I'm going to uncheck percentage right here. So I'm going to go down here, uncheck total, uncheck percentage. Okay, this is looking pretty good. All right, the next thing that you might notice is that right here we have a whole number, but here it's a decimal, and here it's a decimal. I'm going to change this to a whole number, change this to a whole number, and then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to change this to a whole number, and this right here to a whole number. All right, these tables are looking pretty good. One other thing that I think I might also need in this electoral votes is an indicator of who actually won the election, or won the state. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go add column, and I'm going to go conditional column. And I'm going to say if electoral votes Biden is greater than, right here, and I'll go select column, electoral votes Trump, then output Biden, else output Trump. Okay, and I'll go ahead and click OK, and here's this custom, and I'm going to rename this winner. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to text. Perfect. So right here, we now have a pretty good looking data model, right? So we have our actual votes, our electoral votes, and then we have a calculated column. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit close and apply. And you are now going to see all of these load and evaluate. And you see right here, here's the actual tables we have built in. And then our data model was smart enough to, or Power BI was smart enough to automatically create a data model. It's filtering both ways because it's a one-to-one relationship, and meaning each table only has one row per state. This is looking pretty good. Really, we could probably just merge this so it's a single table, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave this. All right, so if we go back to our plan, I think we've pretty much built a convincing data model. I think, there's going to be some measures that we're going to need for visuals, but let's wireframe the dashboard first, kind of using some of that basic data, and then we'll go through on step 3 and actually adjust the data model as needed. So let's start data modeling. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to be on my blank dashboard, ready to start. What I'm envisioning, since there's going to be an election map and an election map of the U.S., is I'm imagining we're going to have kind of a big map right here of the U.S. That you can roll over, and it shows you how many votes each candidate got in each state. And then it's filled in with like who won that state on the Electoral College. And then I want a map of Alaska right here and a map of Hawaii right here. Now, since we're going to be using the map visual in Power BI, you actually need to go ahead and you need to enable that. So you need to go into File, Options and Settings, Options, go down here to Security, and then you need to check this box to enable it to use the map visual. Now, there is also, there's 3 map visuals. So there's a map visual, a filled map visual, which is what we're going to be using because I'm going to want to color code the states, and then an Azure map visual. The Azure map visual is has a lot more formatting options, but I'm not going to use that because you have to pay as you go and you have to log in through the service. And for those of you that are following along in this tutorial, I'm going to assume that you don't necessarily have access to the Power BI service, and so we're going to use the free one. I'm going to also mention that there's a lot of really cool third-party visuals that can do mapping that come with a lot more formatting options, as well as then actually ArcGIS. The third-party ones I'm not going to use because I like these tutorials to be visual native, and then the ArcGIS is also a paid visual right here. Okay, so let's get started. In this, I'm envisioning kind of a single page dashboard with then tooltips. So I'm going to rename this page right here. I'm going to rename this home, and then I'm going to rename this tooltip. Right? Okay. When we wireframe this, I'm going to envision a big continental map of the United States right here. Right, nice and centered. I'm going to imagine Alaska right here, right? And then I'm going to envision Y right here. I am going to want kind of like a single stacked bar chart, so like a percentage graph showing who won, kind of up here like this, right? And then I'm going to want a title kind of showing like the 2020 US election right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert in a text box right here. It says the 2020 US presidential election. I'm going to misspell presidential. Again, I don't claim to be the best speller here, so we will just quickly fix that. So I'm going to go back here, and it looks like I might have actually spelled that correctly. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to go to Sego Bold. And we're going to make this probably bigger, 2020 U.S. presidential election. Right, and we'll put this nice. It's just bothering me that that's coming up as misspelled. Presidential. Okay. All right. And that's because I forgot an I, so it was misspelled. Presidential. Okay, 2020 U.S. presidential election. Then we're going to go down here and we're going to make kind of little titles. So we will take this and oops. Okay. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to copy this visual right here. And we'll title this Alaska. And we'll go back here to Sigio bold again, but then we'll make this probably like 14. Okay, and we will shrink this down. And we'll get this nice and lined up. And then we'll copy this. And we'll line this up and we'll go Hawaii. Okay, and then we'll title this right here. We'll copy this one more time. We'll go right here. Title this lower 48, and we'll align these two top. Okay. We'll get this nice and aligned. And then right here, we'll go ahead and we will go overall. We'll title this electoral votes. Up here. Okay. And I'm going to want to probably bring this down a little bit, like right here. And if we bring this over, we'll go total votes, or total oral votes. Okay, so this is starting to look like a pretty good wireframe, right? So like if we kind of move this over, you know, this is looking like a pretty good little kind of dashboard that's like interactive. So now we can go ahead and we can start inserting data. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to declare the state data type as actual state. So I'm going to go right here into our table, in both these tables. I'm going to go into both actual votes and electoral votes. I'm going to select state, and I'm going to go data category. And I'm going to change it right here to state or province. And then I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to go ahead and change this to state as province as well. Okay, now that we're here, we can start adding in our data. So we're going to want to add in, and I'm going to shrink this down, that way we don't get this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in state right here into location on electoral votes. And if you notice, it's showing the entire US. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to change this to Alaska. So there we are. It's nice. It's in Alaska. I'm now going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same with Hawaii. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to go state, location, and I'm going to go right here and I'm going to select Hawaii. What should be one of these, MIH, HI, and I'll select Hawaii right here. Now you might notice this actually isn't filtering down to Hawaii. That's because the HI in state and province actually means something else. So we're going to have to put in the 3-letter abbreviation into this, and we're going to have to replace that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and we're going to look at their actual like traditional abbreviations here, and we're going to look for Hawaii. What should be in here somewhere, and so I'm just on Wikipedia. Let's go Hawaii right here, and if you notice, they have it as Hawaii spelled out, but I think the 3-letter abbreviation is also HAW. So I'm going to go back into Power Query here by clicking Edit Query. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go replace values. I'm going to find Hawaii I'm going to replace with HAW. Okay, and I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to go replace values. I'm going to go HI, and I'm going to replace the HAW. Okay. I think I didn't capitalize the I here. Yep, I didn't. HI. So there we go. And I'm going to go close and apply here. And if you notice, there's now no longer AHI, so I'm going to go right here to Hawaii. And there we go. There's Hawaii coming through right here. And then finally for lower 48, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same right here, but I'm going to uncheck Alaska and Hawaii so it's zoomed. So I'm going to go select all, I'm going to uncheck Alaska, and then I'm going to go down here to Hawaii and I'm going to uncheck that. So here is our United States. All right. Finally, up here, I'm going to want to do a stacked bar. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to basically bring over here the winner, right? And I'll bring this into the x-axis right here, or down into the legend maybe. Nope. And we will go through and we'll get this nice and figured out. So I think we should be able to, there's count of winner. Okay. Winner right here, and then we'll bring in the electoral votes right here into the x-axis. So here we go. As you can see, we now have our visual coming up right here. Okay, so our winner right here is Trump, and our winner right here is Biden. And I'm going to rename this to candidate in the visual. And I'm going to make sure I have that spelled correctly up here. So I'll go up to candidate, and I did not. So I will go right here, replace that right there. Okay, so now when I roll over this, we now have candidate, and then sum of electoral votes right here. I'm going to rename this electoral votes. So now we have electoral votes by candidate, Biden, Trump. And we're starting to actually kind of get out our wireframe. The next piece on this, though, is we want to start to build out our tooltip. So the tooltip, first, we're going to go over here to the page, right? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some formatting settings on this page. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to name it tooltip. I'm going to go tooltip right here. And I'm going to tell it that the drill through that we want to show this on is state, right? So now when we go back over here and we go onto all these maps, we can search for tooltips. You'll see that they're on. We'll go options. It's now set to report page. So if we now roll over this, you can now see right here, and let's do the same. We'll need to go back over here to this map, report page. It is now right there. It's showing report page, and Alaska, for whatever reason, it is not. But we'll figure that out. Okay, so now let's go and let's start laying out our tooltip. So I like to go down and I like to set a custom tooltip size. So I like to go custom, and in this case, I like it to be longer and then like not as wide. So I'm going to set this to 400 pixels instead. So like I'm going to go 400 right here, and I'm going to set this to 200. And let's go take a look at how big that tooltip is when you roll over one of these. So I'll go down right here and I'll roll over, and that looks probably a little too high, but that's like kind of the appropriate width that I wanted. So I'm going to go back into that tooltip page and I'm going to set this back down to 300. Okay, and let's go ahead and let's take a look. That's about right, as we kind of roll over this. So what I'm going to want to show on this page is I'm thinking we'll show kind of like the icon of the person that won. So we're going to go and we're going to insert in the new card visual right here. And we're going to show the total votes, or I think kind of probably the percentage, and then the image of the person that won. So we'll go ahead and we'll kind of start to populate this. All right, so now let's take a look. Let's zoom on out here. Right, and it's bothering me that this Alaska one's not showing my tooltip, so we'll just go in here. Tooltips, report page, tooltip. There we go. Now it's working, so we'll go back over here. Tooltip, 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 tooltip. And we'll just bring this over, and we'll actually pull in state right here from this. And if you notice, it's columns. We want to add state in on the data, so we'll add state right there. And now if we roll over, right, we'll see Alaska. If we roll over right here, we see Hawaii, California, Oregon. So you can see our tooltip is working. Perfect. So now let's go back to our plan that we had laid out, and I think we've gone ahead and we've correctly wireframed the visuals, or wireframed the dashboard. So our next piece of this is we're going to adjust the data as needed to correctly fill in the visuals with data, or adjust the data model. So that's going to mean we're going to need to create some measures. So let's get started with that. The first measure that I always like to start with, and I'm a formatting guy, so I always like to start with formatting. And so the first measure that I'm going to create is going to be another color measure, and it's going to return either Republican red, light red, or Democratic light blue, depending on who the winner is. So let's go ahead and let's go modeling, new measure, and we'll title this winner color, or winner fill color. Well, actually, let's just title this fill color. And we'll go if, we'll go for first non-blank value, and we'll go of electoral votes winner equals, and we'll go right here and we'll go Biden. I put single quotes because I'm used to Python really quickly, so we'll go Biden right there. Then let's return Democratic light blue, else let's return Republican light red. And we'll go right here, and we'll have that be our fill color. Okay, and we'll go back into, it's not going to like this. Too few arguments were passed to the function. Okay, so if we need to provide essentially the comment. Okay, so I'm going to actually just return max right here, because that's typically easier. Okay, and we closed it. Max Democratic light blue. We need to close this right here and right there. Right. Go ahead and check that. Okay, so we now have a fill color visual that's working. So now let's go back into our model view right here, and we're going to go and we're going to change this display folder to colors. I think that's important. And then we're going to change its home table to our measures table. So you'll see it move right up here. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to need to switch in our fill color. So I'm going to go back into our formatting visual, and I'm going to go fill colors right here. And I'm going to click this little FX, and I'm going to switch this to field value, and I'm going to go measures, and I'm going to go colors, and I'm going to go fill color right here. And here you are. You can start to actually see, right, here's all the states the conservatives won in red, and then here's all the states the Democrats won in a light blue. I actually think that our light blue is probably almost a little too light. So I'm going to go back over here, and here's our Democratic blue. And I'm going to go over here to formatting, right, or hex colors, sorry. My web browser over here, I'll bring it down in a second. And I'm going to put in the Democratic blue, and I'm going to go a little darker. So I'm going to update the light blue. And this is the advantage of using measures as your to handle colors is when I want to update this, right, I can just go here. And you'll see right there, see that looks a lot better already. Okay, so this fill color is working correctly. I'm then going to go over here and I am going to go FX and I'm going to do the same thing, change this to field value, measures, colors, fill color. I'm going to hit OK on that. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go FX. I'm going to go measures, colors, fill color right here. Okay, so, I think I might have changed the wrong effects. That's why. I'm going to change this to rules, field value, fill color. Okay. There we go. All right, so this is looking pretty good. The next thing that I'm going to want to do is I am going to want to actually probably turn on percents here. So we'll go x-axis because that's where I'm going. We'll go values, maybe turn that on. No. It doesn't want to turn that on. Okay, so let's go data labels. That's where we wanted to go, and we'll turn that on. And we'll go series all. Or is it maybe total labels? Okay, so we've got our total label turned on. That's not what we want. We want to go data labels, and we want to change this to a %. So let's go over here. There we go. So this is now a %. And we want to turn this on for value. Okay. And you might notice that nothing came back on, and like I was kind of struggling with that, and that's because as we kind of go through right here, right, it needs to be big enough that it can actually fit the text. But right, so now we're showing like, okay, Biden got this and Trump got this. Okay, now we need to set our colors so they are appropriately colored, right? So let's go into we'll get rid of that, right? And we will search for our bars, and we will go here, Biden. Here's our Biden color, right? And we're going to need to set Biden. We want it to be the Democratic blue. So I can't use a function here. So I'm going to just go in and I'm going to get this hex code right here. I'll set this to that hex code right there. So there's our Biden hex, and then I'll get our Trump to be Republican red, which is this hex right here. Okay, so let's go to Trump, and let's set our Trump color right here. Okay, so there we go. We now have our two candidates, and we have this rolling over. All right, let's start to move over onto our tooltip, because our tooltip, right, is still working. It's showing who won what before we start to get into some of the more interesting formatting stuff. So let's go into our tooltip, right? And our tooltip, we're going to be playing around with the new card visual. What I am thinking that we want to show here is the total number of votes that each person has gotten, and then essentially kind of like some text that either is going to return Biden or Trump. So we can switch that out. First, let's actually bring over winner right here into the data. I brought over state again. Let's bring over winner right here. See, so first winner. We're going to go ahead and we're going to turn off that label. So if we go down here to reference or to call up values, and then we're going to turn off that label. So returning Biden, right? And then we're going to also need to create a measure to return our image of the winner. So we're going to copy this fill color right here, and we're instead going to go insert or modeling, new measure right here, and we're going to title this winner image, and we'll go Biden right here, and we will return, if it equals Biden, we'll return Biden icon. And well, if not, we'll return Trump icon. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and we'll change this to a image URL, and we'll need to move this into the same exact modeling folder. So we'll go back over here, we'll copy this candidate icons, we'll go back over here to winner image, candidate icons right here, and we will change this to measure table. And there's our winner image. So now let's go back over into our card here, and we'll go to images. Okay, and we will turn images on, go to image URL, and we'll choose the FX, and we'll go field value, and we'll go right here, candidate icons, winner image, and we'll hit OK. Now we'll want this to be above the text right here, and this is not quite looking correct, so we will go back right here to our winner image. So if max electoral votes, oh, it's because when we roll over the tooltip, right? So like if we go right here, like look, there's Biden, Biden, Trump, 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 Biden. Okay, so first of all, let's go back to our tooltip because that image is looking a little too big. So we will go ahead and we will shrink it down. So we'll go maybe probably 10 pixels. No, that's too small. 50 pixels. No, just won't. 100. That's looking about right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center that. And if we roll over, look, there's our Trump icon coming through. Here's our Biden icon coming through right here. Okay, so now let's go back over to here, and we're going to want to turn off a few things. So we're going to want to turn off our border, right? Because we don't really need a border on this. So here's our icon right here. All right, see that's looking pretty good. And we're going to want to add in some call out values. So like what I really want it to do is I really want it to show when you roll over the state, I want it to show the total number of votes that each person got, right? And then I want it to show kind of like a nice like percentage. So like maybe like a nice little like line graph. So let's go back to this tooltip and let's go ahead and let's start building that. To the new card visual, right? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to build out our call out values, right? So we're going to apply to the series the first winner, and our values are going to need to be if we go back over here, so here's our call out values, first winner, right? Here's our values, and then we're going to need to go ahead and we're going to need to add a reference label. Sorry. So we'll go right here. Our reference label will be the total number of votes. So let's go right here. We have our actual votes Trump and our actual votes Biden. So I didn't realize that this had actually loaded that way. So I'm going to go back over here to edit query. And I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to go Trump votes. And then I'm going to, and I'll fix, actually all these columns are in all caps, so I'll leave it in all caps. So I'll go Trump votes, and then I'll go right here, and I'll go Biden votes. Okay. Okay, and we'll go ahead and we'll hit close and apply. And what I want it to show is probably like the percent of the total votes they got. So let's go ahead and let's build a measure that can do that. So I'm going to go into modeling. I'm going to go new measure right here. And my new measure is going to be percent of votes. Right. Okay, and this will be, it's going to be, we're going to have to use a divide, right? Well, actually, let's set up a variable. So let's set up total votes, variable, total votes, equal to the sum of actual Biden votes plus the sum of actual Trump votes, right? And then I'm going to, well, actually, let's fix some of these visuals here, or fix some of these variables so this makes a little bit more sense. We'll go var Biden votes equals, and then we'll go all enter, var Trump votes equals, and we'll go all enter. And then we'll bring these up here, so go Command X right there, and Trump votes right here. And we'll change this to a sum, and we'll go total votes equals Biden votes plus Trump votes. Okay, and then we need to actually divide, so we need to understand who the winner is. So we're going to go back over here to this winner image URL, and we're going to copy this if statement right here, and we'll go and we'll change this right here, and we'll go var votes received, and I might misspell received. I think I did. So we'll just quickly check that spelling. Okay, and we will fix our spelling of received right here. There we go. We fixed our spelling, and then we will go if Biden won, we'll return Biden votes, or not Biden icon, we'll return Biden votes right here. And if not, we'll return Trump votes. Okay, right here. And then finally down below, we'll return right here, we'll return divide. And we'll divide our numerator will be votes received divided by our denominator, which will be total votes right here. And we'll go ahead and we'll click check, and our data category will be a percentage, and we will put this down to 1 decimal place. So now right here, this is going to be our call out value. So I'm going to bring this in right here. Okay, so now we have Biden and we have percent of votes, 47%. So that's looking, you know, we start going right back over here, right? Percent of votes, 58. Yeah, you can see slowly, right? This is actually starting to look pretty good. We're obviously going to have to do some pretty major formatting on this icon, but we're starting to kind of get this. Before I forget, let's go ahead and let's clean up our icon. So like by moving our measures. So we're going to go back over into model view, and we're going to put this display folder as KPIs, right? And we're going to change the home table to a measures table. Okay, so as you can see, right, our data model is still very organized. We're now going to go back over here, and we're going to go back to our tooltip. And we're going to start trying to kind of customize this value right here. So in our callout value, in our detail reference label, right, we're going to turn off the title. So, well, we'll leave our title on, but we will we will start to kind of go through this. So let's go to our value right here, and let's kind of move this down our percentage. Let's rename this this right here. So we'll select our label right here. We'll go rename our title to custom. Okay, and we will, our custom is going to be, well, percent of, yeah, I actually kind of like percent of votes, but let's make it the same size as our details right here. All right, so that's looking pretty good. And then let's go ahead and let's add in a Trump votes and a Biden votes value here. So what we need to do is we need to create a measure that's always going to return the total number of Trump votes and a measure that's always going to return the total number of Biden votes. Luckily, I think this actually should be pretty easy. So we will, because we have them in 2 separate columns. So let's go ahead and let's go new measure, and we'll title this votes for Trump, right? And we'll title this right here, electoral votes Trump, and then we'll go right here and we'll create a new measure, and we'll go and title this votes for Biden. And we'll go right here and we'll go sum, and we'll go votes for Biden. Okay. All right, so we now have two measures, and let's bring these also in here. So there's our votes for Biden, right? And here's our votes for Trump. All right, so this is looking pretty good. Let's go roll over here. Right? Percent of votes won. Okay, so this is like, if you look at this, actually, this is looking a little, so I think I might have summed the Electoral College, so let's go back over here. Yes, I did. Okay, so let's go back. We need to turn this to actual votes. Actual votes, Biden. Actual votes. We need to do the same here. Actual votes, Trump. Okay. Right here. Nice. So this is looking like pretty good, right? If we roll over this, we can start to see our data is coming through. So, this is looking, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Before I forget, right, we always need to go into our model view, and we need to set the display folder. So these are KPIs. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to set the display folder right here, KPIs. Set the display folder right here of KPIs one more time. Okay, so let's go back here. Here's our graph, right? And you can start to see right here, this is looking pretty good. Okay, so the one final piece that I want to put into this is electoral votes, right? So like that's the total amount of electoral votes. So we'll need to create one more measure here, which is we'll go modeling, and we'll go new measure, and we're going to title this electoral votes 1, right? And we'll go sum, and this sum, and I need to go in equals actually, so we'll go sum right here, and our electoral votes will be the total electoral votes of the state, right? And we'll go right here, and let's go back onto our tooltip, and this will be another final call out value right here. So I'll go down, and we'll bring in our electoral votes 1 right here. Okay. All right, so this is looking pretty good. We're obviously going to have to do some serious formatting, but let me finally just move this into our measures table by going back into model view. I know I've said this a million times. We'll go KPIs, and we will change the home table to our measures table. Right. Okay, so this is now looking pretty good. All right, so this is now a fully functional, you roll over this, and it's looking pretty good. It's not formatted correctly, obviously, but if we go back to our plan, we have filled in the visuals with data. So we've completed step 3. So now it's time to move on to UI tweaks. So this actually, looks pretty. I think we can all agree this is not a 10 out of 10 looking dashboard here. So let's go down and let's start working on our tooltips. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go all, and we need to set, or go down to all right here, and we need to set our values to 10. Okay, our values are now set to 10, and then we need to set our field name to all to 10 right here. Okay, so there's now all 1, so we now have percent of votes. We have a lot of this coming through. It's looking pretty good. Now, we probably need to go and reorder some of these. So I'm going to go electoral votes, votes for Biden, votes for Trump, and then percent of votes. This probably needs to be percent of votes. Okay. We'll change this percent that one probably. Custom percent. Okay, and I want all these, right? See how I just put in that little like ampersand? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that for all these. Votes for Trump. Our content is gonna be custom. So we'll title this probably Trump votes. Right. And then we'll title the next one, we'll do the same thing. We'll go custom Biden votes. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And then we'll go electoral votes 1. We need to just adjust that one last thing so it also has right here. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. So now we need to adjust the actual formatting of the values. So I'm going to go right here to values, and this is too big. So I'm going to turn this down. Right, so let's get this like way smaller. Right, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center this right here. So there we go. This is now looking much better. I am going to turn on the label again. So I'll go back here and I'll search for label and I'll turn this on. And right now it's saying first winner. I am going to want to change this. So I'm going to rename this to winner. Well, actually, yep, I'm going to rename this to winner right here. And we'll go winner right here. And our position is going to be looking pretty good. Okay, so let's go over and let's roll over here and let's see how this is looking. As you can now see, right, we need to fix our spacing, but this is looking a lot better. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go and try to fix our spacing. Okay, the first spacing thing that's kind of throwing me off is the spacing between the label and the winner. So I'm going to decrease this down to 5. So I'm going to get this a lot closer. Right, so now when we go back over here, this is looking a lot closer. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to adjust the spacing, obviously, between the value of the, like all kind of the detail values that we have here in the card and the trump. So I'm going to go back over here to tooltip and I'm just going to hit search for spacing. It's not going to come up. So, oh, that's because I didn't have it selected. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to search for spacing. And right here, we can kind of start to see. So we have the spacing between the image and the call out. Okay. And then, and let's see what happens if we start to increase this. As you can see, right, so that's increasing this up. So we probably need to go down a little. I want this a little tighter. So there's that winner. And then we need to go the space between cards. So I don't think we need to worry about that, but maybe the label, the space between the label and the value. So I think we already had that pretty good. Yeah, that's not what we want to adjust. So now let's go down and let's go call out values. And let's go layout right here. And let's start going through this. All right. So let's first kind of start to think through this. So let's go background right here and let's start looking. So currently we do have a background on. Let's search fill. Okay, and nothing's coming up. So let's go into here. Okay, and let's turn this to white. nope, that's not what we want to go. So let's turn this to like a slightly darker here, and let's go bold right there. So that's looking better. Okay. And now we need to go switch here to all. And now we can start to adjust some of these details. So right now we have background and we have a divider. So if I turn off our divider, right, that starts to kind of figure this out. But if you notice, it's checked to ignore padding. If I remove this, right, that's not what we want. So I'm going to go right here, and there's the background. And I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to turn all these off. Okay. So this is now starting to look pretty good. Let's go back into this, and let's see if we can maybe start to adjust some of this. Right, so if we shrink this down right here, so our callout values, right, let's start to kind of make some of this right here. And then let's go back and let's actually turn that divider back on. Right, so there's our value right here. And as you can see, right, so this is how I'm starting to kind of adjust some of this right here. So if you notice, like, see that? That's looking pretty good, actually. And let's go through and let's recenter this. So now if we go back over here and we start to roll over, right, here, this is, see, look, this card is looking a lot better. So now we need to go and we need to start doing some additional formatting tweaks right here. So let's copy this and let's go back over to our formatting styles, and I want to format the labels of this. Our reference labels. I want to format the title bold. So I want these to be bold, and let's go down to 9, right? And then let's go down to our values, and we'll also need to go down to 9 on that. Finally, we then need to return, I kind of want to do like a nice fill color for a few of these. So let's go, let's turn our electoral votes, like our electoral votes and our percentage of votes 1, which, by the way, I just noticed our percentage of votes 1 is not decreasing right here with all these others. So let's go to 9 right there. I actually want to move right here. So percent of votes 1, so electoral votes 1, percent of votes 1, and then we say Biden votes. And I know I set this custom earlier, but I want to go back over here. I want to go votes for Biden. Right, and we'll go back over here and we'll change this to votes for Trump. So let's go down here and let's go votes for Trump. Okay. All right, so this is looking better. And I know I keep on clicking over here, but it's because I want to see how this looks, right? As we start to move over here. And I think I'd like my winner here to be, like, my actual, like, label to be bold as well. So let's go back into the values, and what happens if we select this as bold, right? So like that, I think that looks a lot better. And if we go back over here, right, see, that's looking pretty good. Okay, now let's go back and let's go actually to our image, and let's see if, I know we said above text, but what happens if we go below text? Right, I actually think that looks probably a little better. And let's decrease our size here. Right, and then let's increase the spacing between the image and the callout a little bit. And then let's increase our label size. So I'm going to go back over to the callout right here. And I'm going to go to label and let's increase the size of this. All right, so now when we go back over, we now have winner, Biden. Oh, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's go back over to here. Let's select back into this card. Okay, so now I think we had in here, so in our layout right here, I think we had a border in between our reference label. So let's switch that select label all. And then if we notice, we had a divider with an FX. So let's change this to a divider color. So I'm going to go right here to fill color. And I'm going to change this to dark fill color. I'm going to create a new measure. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go new measure. And I'm going to change this to dark fill color. And I'm going to instead return right here. I'm going to return Democratic blue and then Republican red. Okay. And I'll go ahead and I'll click OK here. I now have a new measure that I now need to go into model view. Its display folder is going to be colors. Okay, and then it's going to go into the candidate icon. So we'll go right over, or the measure table. So here it is, dark fill color. Okay, so now if I go back into my tooltip right here and I select my card, I go back into where I was, which I was in the divider. Right here, I can then set my FX. I'm going to base this on a field value, and it should be colors. Let's go dark fill color. Okay, nice. All right, so if we go back over here, right, go over here. Look, Biden is blue, Trump is red. Okay, so nice. That's looking pretty good. So now what we need to do is we now need to probably go for the background, I think, of a few of these. So we could probably go into our values. And let's actually call out values and let's just see, is there a background setting on this? There is not. Well, actually, maybe there is. What happens if we go this? So that's transparency there. Okay. So there's our label and there's our layout. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's maybe set the background of some of our reference labels. Okay, so we got we're selecting all, value, detail, divider. And then we have layout and spacing. And then we have our select series. If we go all right here, we can now turn on our background. So let's go transparency. Okay, well, we don't have any reference labels. Well, we do have a reference label for winner, but we don't have any reference labels for all. I'm wondering, basically what I'm thinking about right now for visual tweaks is what kind of fun conditional formatting we can do. So let me mull over that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand value, right? And then within value, I'm going to set an FX on color right here. I'm going to go field value. I'm going to go back over here. And I'm going to go to colors. And we'll go dark fill color right here. There we go. We now can see this. But the problem is right here is, so for votes for Biden, I want that one to be blue, right? And then I want votes for Trump to be red. So we'll go back over here and we'll go select series winner, and our label will be votes for Biden. Our text, our values are always going to be, we'll go FX right here, we'll go field value, and this will always be colors. Democratic blue, right? So that's looking pretty good. And then our votes for Trump will always be Democratic or Republican red. So let's go right here and let's go votes for Trump. and we'll go value FX base on here, colors, Republican red. Okay. All right, so now let's roll over all these, and you'll notice that this is now, oh, it looks like maybe our votes for Biden is not, or our votes for Trump is not working right here. So I might have set the wrong thing. So let's go back. Apply to winner. Sorry, right down here, we'll go to winner. Our value color, so we'll hit this FX. And we'll go up, that's why. Okay. So now if we go back, look, votes for Trump. Okay, so that's just some nice kind of like formatting right here. So now we need to start formatting some of these visuals. So right here, we're going to go in. So the first thing I'm going to do, I don't know if you see, is all these have titles. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to turn off the title on pretty much all these right here, right? Because we have titles. They're right here. They look good. I'm going to turn this off and this one as well. And right here, I'm going to also turn off my legend right here. So we'll move this up, and we'll maybe shrink this down a little bit, right? And we'll change this to total electoral votes 1. Okay. Now, I know I said, like, if we look at this map, right, it's just not as pretty, and like you can do it in Azure Maps, right? So one of the things I like to kind of do, and I'm moving these up a little. Let's move this down. Okay, Alaska's right there. And let's move this down to Hawaii. Right here. So let's move this over. Okay, so one of the things I want to do with these maps is I want to change the color so they're like there's like too much going on right here. So I'm going to go into my map settings and I'm going to change it to a grayscale map right here. And I'm going to do the same for all of these grayscale map. So that way my color is like nice and pretty right here. Then finally, I'm going to want to pretty much like probably add like some fun little things here. So I'm going to search for a presidential icon. Looks like a presidential icon, and I'll include this in the folder with the resources that I've linked down below. Okay, so I've got my image downloaded, and I'm now going to go into Insert, and I'm going to go Image right here, and here's my POTUS seal, right? And we're going to insert that image, so we're going to bring this down, right? And we now have, right, our 2020 election right here. Okay, so let's now, I'm going to bring this up a little bit and select right here. And so we'll go candidate Biden, candidate Trump. Okay, this is looking pretty good. One of the things I am going to do now is I'm going to organize some of these objects a little bit better. So if I expand my images, you'll see I've got a few different text boxes. So I'm going to title this image Seal of US. I'm then going to go back to this one. This is my percent chart label, right? I'm going to go over here. This is my lower 48 label. Okay. I'm going to go right here. This is my Hawaii label. I'm then going to go right here. This is my Alaska label. Okay. I'm going to go right here. This is my header label. This is my percent chart. This right here is my Hawaii. This right here is my Alaska. And this right here is my lower 48. Okay. now I'm going to start to group these, right? So I want my lower 48 label by my lower 48. So I'm going to go right here, and we're going to group these two. Group, group, and I'm going to title this group lower 48. Okay. I'm then going to do the same with Hawaii. So I'll bring you up to Hawaii, group you two. I'll group you, and you'll be Hawaii. Okay, and then Alaska. So here's my Alaska, and here's my Alaska label. So I'll bring Alaska up here, group. This will be Alaska. Okay, and then here will be my chart. So I'll bring chart up here. I'll group these, and these will be my chart. Okay, and then I'm going to group all these, and these will be my data. Okay, and then I'm going to group these two, and these will be my title. Okay, so now we have a really nicely cleaned data model here that we can kind of go through and we can actually start to collect. One of the things you might notice is that I've got some lines here. As I kind of click through some of this stuff, we can get it unselected, right? Let's go back over here and we'll start to group here. Okay, so one of the things I think that looks not 10 out of 10 on this is we don't have any kind of background to it. So let's figure out how we're going to fix this. So let's go here to page, and we're going to turn the page background right here. We're going to change it to like a nice like light gray. Or we're not going to change that. We're going to change this to white. We'll change the we will change this to a nice light gray. We'll turn the transparency, right? And we can start to see what this is looking like. Okay, so here is that. All right, this does not look 10 out of 10, I will admit that. But now with everything, I like to put in some shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in some shapes. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to insert in my rounded rectangle right here. I'm going to go up right here. And I'm going to go back into formatting and I'm going to go icons. And we'll make sure those are off. They are. And we'll go fill. And we'll change this to white. And we'll bring this all the way down. Here we go. It's starting to, it's starting to kind of look a little bit more interesting. We need to obviously alter the border on that. So I'll go right here and I will turn my border off. And then we will go over here to our size and style. And we'll start increasing the horizontal until we get this nice and centered. All right, and maybe I'll bring this actually into my actual chart right here. And then within chart, I will increase this to 550. Oh, that's the horizontal, that's why. So I'll go here to 550, I'll change the vertical to 10. Right. Or maybe we'll turn the vertical here to 20. No, 10 was better, 15. All right, we'll go to 10. And then we'll go and we'll search right here to rounded. You notice the shape is very rounded, so we'll turn this down to 10%. Okay, so now we have, right, our total electoral votes won. This is looking better. It's probably a little too long on this side, right? So we'll go back into our selection pane and we'll go into our shape right here and we'll just eke that closed. Okay, so that's looking better. So now we'll duplicate this shape. So we'll go Command C, Command V, and we will put it right here, and we'll make it right here, and right here. Okay. And we'll probably need to make this a little bigger, but we'll go and we'll bring this into the lower 48. So I'm dragging it right up, and apparently I'm not going to drag it correctly. So drag this over right here. Now, one of the things we're going to need to do, right, is we're going to need to adjust this a little bit. And moving maps around is always a little difficult. But let's go ahead and let's select these two, and we'll move them down. So we will move them down right here. And then if you notice, this is looking very, very rounded. So we're going to have to fix that with the shape right here. So we'll go into formatting, rounded, right? And we'll change this way down. We'll get this nice and rounded there. Okay, and so if we go back over here, right, you can see we still have some space to kind of move. So we'll need to go ahead and we'll move this back down right here. Oh, and I'm selected. And there's easier ways to move this, right? Like you're seeing me struggle a little bit here to just move things around, but there we go. We'll turn this down to lower 48, and then we'll go to shape right here, and we'll decrease that shape. Okay, so that's looking pretty good right there. So then we will, and I actually might move these over, because I think this looks a lot cleaner, right? But then what I'll need to probably do is I'll need to move Alaska down. So I'll grab Alaska here, move you down here, and then I'll need to move Hawaii down a little bit too. Oh, and I selected the wrong. I'm not selecting the full group. And this is the advantage of groups, right? As you start to build these out, you can actually start to build some like kind of nice stuff. So we'll center this right here, and then we'll go back into Hawaii. Okay. I don't know why it's not letting me move Hawaii correctly, so I'll go, nope. Come on, let me grab at Hawaii. So I'll go, there we go. Now it's letting me move Hawaii. I like that. That's looking pretty nice. But if we look on the lower 48, I'm going to struggle to move things again. And I'm going to move shape out of this group. So we'll move shape out, and then we'll go here. And then we're going to move this. We're going to title this, we're going to group these into locations or like maps. Okay, and then I'm going to move shape out into data, and then move this down here. And we'll move this up, and we'll move this up. Okay, so as you can see, right, this is now looking pretty good, but we now need to adjust our shape so it's nice and centered. And then, yeah, I think like, so if we look, and we're just fiddling with spacing, right? Like if we look at Alaska and Hawaii, I think they need to move over a little bit. So let's go explain maps, and we'll select Alaska and Hawaii. We'll move them over here a little bit, and then we'll select our lower 48. Oh, and I selected the wrong thing. I just get busy. And this is the problem with, I mean, like this kind of spacing. Right here. And we'll move this over. All right, that's looking, honestly, I'm pretty pleased with how this is looking. One of the things maybe is that this shape under the chart could be a little bit smaller. So let's go right here and let's kind of shrink this down a little bit, and then let's move the shape down right there. And then let's move our chart label down right here. Nice. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. And then the one last thing we have to do is we have to copy this shape, and we need to basically have it right here. for our title. So we'll add that in, and we'll bring this header label up. All right. Well, and then we'll maybe shrink this down just a little bit on the shape, just to get it nice looking. All right, well, there we go. That right there is our simple dashboard. Yeah, if you roll over, you can start to build out some of this kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to publish this. That way we can get kind of a final idea of what it would look like. And actually, one last thing, I'm going to hide my tooltip tab. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this published up. I'm going to publish it by clicking this publish button, hitting save to save it. You know, actually spent a lot of time building this. And I'm going to save this in my workspace. I'm going to title it Election Dashboard. Oh, actually, it's been a long build here. I think we've been talking for almost 2 hours now. So this is a long video, but it's going to publish up, and then I'm going to have access to it right here in my Power BI environment. Okay, so here it is. And we're going to close out of that. And here is our dashboard. All right. Well, thank you for watching. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this, please subscribe and like the video. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and it means a lot to me. Thank you. Have a good day.